So we got a basic idea of how the MERN stack works and how the different pieces work together. As I mentioned throughout this course, you will not only get refreshers about the individual building blocks, but most importantly, we'll build an entire application where you can see all these pieces built out individually and then come together when we connect all the different blocks with each other. Now, this project which we're going to build is a project we of course have to plan before we dive into it. So in this module, I want to plan a React, or specifically the entire MERN project with you, because this hopefully also helps you approach your next project and get an idea of what you might want to keep in mind, what you have to think about before you get started, and how you can create a plan for the thing you're trying to build. Now, for that, there are a couple of general planning steps through which we'll walk in this module, so that by the end of the module, we have a clear plan of what we want to build and how we want to build it. The first step for that, of course, is that you need an idea. You want to solve some problem. That often or typically will not be a step you have to think about and specifically dive into, because more often than not, you will have an idea and then you want to start planning an app that solves the problem or that works on that idea. So this is only a rough first step, which typically can already be checked off the list by the time you're getting started. So the next step, the real first step after you have an idea, you want to solve a problem, is that you create a design. You sketch out the application you want to build. At least this is what I like to do if I'm building a front end. And that, by the way, is really important. The steps I'm giving you here are not the objectively correct steps you have to go through whatever you're trying to build. These are the steps that work for me. For you, the order might be different. Maybe you have some other step. Maybe you don't need a specific step. I'm really just sharing my personal approach here with you. So I got an idea and now I want to create a design. I want to sketch out the application. Now, when I talk about creating the design here, you could really work with design tools like Framer X or SketchUp or Photoshop and build your design there. Now, I'm not a designer and this is not a design course, so we're not going to do that here. Often, this is also a task you will probably outsource because chances are you want to focus on writing the code and you also are not a designer. Hence, here in this module, we'll just draw the general skeleton. We'll sketch out the application. We'll not really set up a specific design for this application here. Of course, we want to make sure it looks nice, but that's something we'll do when we implement it. I already prepared some nice styles and colors for you there. So once we got the general skeleton, we sketched out the general front end of this application, we of course also have to think about the data we work with, both in the front end, but also more importantly on the back end of our application. So we want to plan our data models, the data we or our app will work with. Which entities do we need and which data do we need to send across the wire from frontend to backend, and then also from Node Express to the database. This, of course, is a crucial part because that is a part that will affect all building blocks of your MERN application. Now, once the data model is clear and we got our frontend sketched out, we of course have to plan our backend endpoints and the pages. You could put that into quotes because we don't really have more than one page, but the different components you could say you want to have on the front end in your single page application. These are the steps I want to go through together with you. We'll do it here in this module, and this is my rough planning process I go through whenever I approach a new project. Now, obviously, you can do way more work on all these steps. You can also come up with a complete design on your own. But as I mentioned, since this course is not primarily about designing and so on, I want to keep this module short and just give you a general idea of how this works.